All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Thinking with Malik. I actually had to reshoot this episode, so I'm not gonna sit and act like this is how I wanted it to be shot or how I shot it originally. But it actually falls in alignment with how we wanted to create more content in a more consistent fashion. So this is just a goal that we're setting for ourselves to try to create something every day or every other day with the effort to post something, I would say every 8 to 12 hours. So that's 2 to 3 times a day for each channel, right? So that's a lot of content, a lot of output, but I think it's doable based on the system that we're putting in place and how we're sourcing the content, how we're creating the ideas and talking about things and picking things that we feel like matter based on each individual channel for myself. With this one being business and life, advice about business and life, practical advice at that. So today we're going to talk about something again that I've already talked about that I just posted about on Instagram. And this is the quote unquote podcast version or mini slash extended version. It's not going to be an hour, but 5 to 15 minutes is all I'm asking for. Digestible, something you can listen to in the car, something you can listen to in the morning as you get ready for work. And it's just practical advice that has a blog, it has tweets, doesn't have a thread, but it has a tweet, it has a reel, and I posted about it on my story. So every day, the goal is to be able to do that along with repurposing old content. And it really goes into today's topic, which is consistency, really well. Because the thought that this consistency point of emphasis comes from is that getting your shit together is not enough. You have to keep it together. And how do you keep your shit together? Or why should you even keep your shit together? Let's dive into that. You know how we start these. We got a brain dump where I just say what's on my mind. And the first thing that came to my mind was if you don't do it consistently, then you can't expect to maintain quality. So if you don't clean your car, it accumulates more dirt. If you don't work out, you get weaker and don't have as much energy. So that's the first point. The second thing is that came to mind as I thought about this thought initially is stop looking for the reward. Start embracing the lifestyle. You can't see outside of your own car when you're in it. So you're constantly looking for other people to validate that you made a good choice by getting that car or choosing the rims, whatever they might be looking at. And that's because most of us like to flex. It's okay to enjoy the fruits of your labor, but are you really enjoying it when you have to get someone else's approval before you start to enjoy it? That's something you have to ask yourself, right? And this is the curse of social media, right? Because as good as it is for business, it's just as terrible for your mental health when it comes to understanding what really matters and why or what you're choosing. You should start to build things that fit the life that you want, not the outside validation that a lot of people, including myself, have or continue to seek in certain instances. So, what's the problem with all of this? People are losing the unique advantage of who they are and what they do because they're looking for the result to just happen fast, even though they haven't created the environment for it to happen fast or put in the time to even see it happen. You can't expect to run fast if you never sprint, right? You haven't created an environment for your body to even react and trigger itself to be able to move that fast. And if you haven't eaten the right foods, if you haven't trained right, if you haven't rested, if you haven't gotten the right type of mindset coaching on how to even run that fast and compete, you can't expect it. Same thing with a car. If you don't build it with an engine that can take the power that the engine is going to distribute, then things break and you can't go fast, or you can go fast for a very short amount of time, but not long enough for you to get to where you want to be. So that's the issue, right? People want this microwave result. We live in a microwave society. Obviously, we all know that. But what will stop people from even understanding this problem and trying to solve it? Well, they compare how someone else did it, which is good when you're trying to create a template, but you can't compare how someone else did it to your own thing. You can't think that the template is going to bring the results. It's not the template, it's the execution. It's the tweaking of the template to make it your own, to make sure that it works for you. You can't maybe get on camera the way I get on camera. I just talk. right? It's really natural for me. That's how I know I'm born to do it in some capacity in whatever I'm doing. I'm supposed to be speaking to people. I'm supposed to be providing clarity. I know that about myself. But for you, just starting to talk on camera, it might be a little bit different. But the template is, hey, just set it up. Don't worry about if it's a phone, if it's a camera, if it's the Osmo Pocket, like what I'm shooting on today. The original one that I messed up was shot on the A7 IV, the Sony. And I'm like, dang, I was looking for the file too, but I couldn't find it. And it was like, whatever, just reshoot it. And the content is the same, right? How I break it down, what I'm talking about is the same. I might not say it the same way, but there's a template of how I'm supposed to present this content to you. And you got to figure out what yours is and then go from there. But you can't compare it to how I've executed on it. You have to execute it on it in your own way. And the benefit to doing that is if you can get past that, you can start getting into a headspace where the results take care of themselves because you're so immersed in the action of what it is you do. You start to accumulate the results, and one day you'll turn around and you'll have everything that you wanted from these actions and these templates and these things you put in place. But you can't sit still and watch the oven heat up because then it will seem like it's taking longer. If you can execute the process over and over, right? If you can let the oven do what it does, then you'll be ready to finally see the life that you want to take shape or the results that you want take shape. So, what is my personal experience with all of this? I feel like every 2 to 3 years, I've got to get my shit together moment. I had one at 24, I had another one at about 26, 27, and then another one at 28, 29. And there's no real manual telling you that everything is in order. Knowing that the bottom line for me was just be consistent and in control of the things that I truly have control over was good for me. It was like, okay, what are those things? That's like my health. That's my business structure. That's how I pour into my family, my faith, how I pour into relationships, setting up my future kids for wealth and stability. And that's not just actual money and different opportunities. That's my mind. That's reading. That's understanding exactly what in the world is going on out here and how do I create some type of structure to protect and provide for them in a way that they can steward and exhibit their faith in God, because I'm definitely going to raise God fearing children. That's my goal. So, how can I create that type of environment? And that's not just always monetary. Okay, so these are the things that you have to consistently take action on to maintain. And again, there's no real progress bar. Like you're never really going to be done with this. So that's why it's so important to get immersed in the process because it seems like every level comes right as I figured out how to maintain the previous level. And frankly, that means I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, but it doesn't make it any easier. The upside to all of this is that it's not easy to do, but at each new level, getting your shit together just means you are capable of doing more. If I reach the top of the first level, now I'm at the bottom of the second level, it just means that I know how to maintain the first level. And I have to stack on top of that. I have to stack habits. I have to stack money. I have to stack relationships. I have to stack knowledge, right? All of these different things have to be stacked on top of each other for me to continue to amplify what I've already built. And over time, again, you'll be up so many levels that you'll be thinking about level one and, oh, that's where you are. Like, hey, that's easy. Just do this, just do that. Right. And sometimes, again, like I've seen people talk about how when you're up here and you're looking down and they're just like, pull me up, it's like you can't. Because if they don't go through it themselves, they'll never be able to maintain being up here with you. And not only that, it's so easy for people to latch themselves onto you and bring you down. So it's not that I don't think people above me or whatever don't wanna help. I think that there's direction there that can be given, and I'm definitely open to doing that. But I understand why some people don't give as much as they probably could when it comes to your development and what you're trying to get done. Because if they bring you up there prematurely, they bring you up there and you're not ready to take the next step, because it's easy to see what it looks like when you've been there. I can easily look at a younger wide receiver or even younger entrepreneur at this point and see if they're ready to get to the next step of what it is they're doing just by having a conversation. And it's like you can't just give it to them. they have to want it themselves. And if they show that they want it themselves, they show the consistent action and they're doing what they're supposed to do, then it's like, okay, cool. Here's a little tidbit. Here's a bone. Here's a connection, whatever. Because when people do that for you, they're putting their name or their neck out there for you a lot of times. So I understand where that comes from. And that's the upside, right? You wouldn't be getting to the next level where people can do that if you didn't know how to manage the levels before. So that's the benefit to it. So, how do you actually get it done? The last part of this is the framework. Okay. So, my my suggestion is it's common exercise. A lot of people know about it if you're into personal development in any kind of way. It's the eulogy exercise. Literally sit down and write your eulogy. It puts your life in perspective really quick because you get to the point where you're thinking about, okay, I'm going to leave this earth at some point, which all of us will, and I want to leave my mark on the people, the environment, the whatever, and I want this to be what I was known for, right? And we have to figure out what that is for you. For me, it's I want to be known for a man, being a man of faith, a family man, someone who enjoyed life and enjoyed helping other people enjoy life, and was someone who tried to provide clarity and empathy and understanding for multiple sides of this life equation, whether that's different perspectives from people, whether it's understanding the left and the right side of business, whether it's just understanding how to figure out what it is you should be doing on a daily basis, habit formation, all those different things, like just clarity in general. I want to be known for providing that for people in pivotal parts of their life. And then how do you do that? I can do it through real estate, buy your first home, being a realtor. I can do it through media, helping someone expand their brand. I can do it through consulting and coaching or mentorship, which is helping people actually figure out what direction they want to go. And I don't feel like I'm limited to just one. I think the first two, the media and the real estate, are definitely their own business and more business centric. But I think the coaching and consulting is a little bit more dynamic for me. And I like that. I like that I'm able to, have business and do what I need to do, but also extend some time to others and get paid for it, obviously. But extend some time to others in the consulting or speaking engagement type format where I can help give them clarity. That's just the first step, right? Write your eulogy to get that type of clarity about what it is you want to do. The second thing I would say is eliminate people and things you've outgrown. Some people and things will come back around if they're supposed to, but you want to eliminate the things that are eating up your time that aren't adding to your life or your experience. One of the things that I heard someone say online is that I'm not taking an opportunity or a job or whatever, and this is more in the media space, but they say they're not going to do certain things if it doesn't increase their profit, if it's not a good portfolio piece, or it doesn't increase their network. I think that's a good baseline for you to start. If it's not something that's going to put money in your pocket, if it's not something that's going to increase your network, and it's not something that's going to be a good portfolio piece for your resume or your website, then those are good metrics to determine whether you should do it or not. And you need to have at least two of the three: portfolio piece and network. Maybe you don't care as much about the profit and network. Maybe you don't care about the portfolio, network, and I think I already said that, whatever, just a different way. But regardless, you got to have two of the three to do what it is you need to do. And you have to look at people that way as well. Are they a good network? Are they a good quote unquote portfolio of friends? Does this show the quality of your life and the relationships that you are keeping in your life? And if so, cool. If somebody is putting money in your pocket and increasing your network and putting money in your pocket and helping your CV or your resume look good, cool. And you keep that around. But I think that's a good baseline. The third thing is getting the gym. There's nothing that's going to build more discipline and consistency than being able to go consistently push your body and in turn give yourself more energy. If you do that, then I think everything will start to make sense to you. The eulogy and the gym are probably, you can do one of those two first, right? This list isn't in any order, but the eulogy, I'll take it back. The eulogy is first, but gym could be second, fourth, fifth, whatever. But I think that the gym should be number two, if I had to say what I think my preference of you following this list would be. And then number four, write out your interests. You need to build a life around the things you're willing to invest in and the people that invest a lot. and are happy, invest in things that they're interested in. It's very difficult for me to ask you to do something you're not interested in because you're not going to give what you need to give for it to be a success. The reason I made it as far as I did in football, even though I didn't make it all the way, is because I really was interested in it. And I would say even more so than baseball, even though my one regret is that I didn't keep playing baseball only after a couple things throughout my football career, because I truly do think I could been in the majors. But it just I was more interested in football. I thought football had more money in it for me in terms of the back end, as far as how many people are on a roster and the different ways you can get on the field. Not only that, I broke my ankle playing football, so it was better for me to rehab with football. But that's another story. I was interested in this, the bottom line, and I put a lot into it and became damn near a savant when it came to at least playing receiver. And I still am, just not really advertising, coaching, or training as much anymore like I used to. But at the end of the day, I was interested in it. So that's why I pushed myself. That's why I got as far as I did. And then the last thing is create your perfect week. What does a day look like or a week look like in your life? Figure out whatever you need to do on a daily basis in terms of habits, and then set goals for the week, and then put it all on your calendar and see if you hit it. And then you might not hit it, but you will understand how your time is being managed and how you can get to all these goals. And it's all again stemming from this kind of North Star of how you want to be remembered and who you want to be remembered as from that eulogy exercise. I think that's really key. If you can do this, right? I'll repeat the framework for you guys. If you really want to get past being inconsistent and keeping your shit together, not just getting it together, then you need to write your own eulogy to give you clarity. You need to eliminate people and things you've outgrown so that you can get your time back. You need to get in the gym because you need to get some grit about yourself and be consistent. You need to write out your interests because that will help you again more get a more defined picture of where you want to go. And then you need to create your perfect week and execute on it and see where you've fallen short. Because if you are falling short, you can fix and tweak things to make sure that you don't keep falling short. That is the framework. So, with that being said, this went a little bit longer. So, I would say probably 10 to 20 minutes from now on in terms of talking about these different topics on a daily basis. And I think I can give you 20. I think I can give you 20 minutes each day of something that really piques my interest and try to break it down in a way that is really digestible. I hope you enjoyed this pseudo episode. I'm not gonna say pseudo, it's a real episode, but I hope you enjoyed this episode of Thinking with Malik. This is something that, like I said, I'm passionate about. I can't not do it. I got to keep doing it. I feel like I was put down here to do it. And at the end of the day, there's more than enough of this content I'm going to be putting out, old stuff, new stuff, and all of it is in efforts to help you, give you clarity, and this practical advice about business and life. And I think everybody can use a little bit of that. If you like it, like, subscribe, share. Hit me up if you're interested in coaching. 30-minute calls, only $100. 90-minute calls, 1,000. So I would take the 30 if I was you. And yeah, we'll talk next time. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We out.